This video is the Higher Graphic Communication assignment for 2019, which is the speaker. In today's video, I am going to show you how to create the first part of the speaker, which is using a new command to hire, which is the loft command. So we are going to create the back casing of the speaker. Now looking at the assignment, we have the back casing in front of us, and we can see that we've got a kind of rectangular shape and then a smaller rectangular shape at the back, and those are 3D modeled together using loft. As we'll learn in class, loft is taking two shapes on different work planes and modeling them together to create a 3D shape. So the first thing we're going to do is create the bigger rectangle. And we can see here on the elevation that the length of the speaker casing is 180 and the height is 90. So I'm going to go to Inventor, I'm going to click New. I'm going to make sure that metric is selected down the side, and I'm going to select the standard millimeter part. Once loaded, we are going to go up to Start a 2D sketch. And we're going to make sure that we select the XY plane. Now we're going to create a rectangle at 180 by 90. So I'm going to go to the rectangle tool, but I'm going to use the drop down to select the 2-point center rectangle. And that just means that the rectangle will be created using the center point rather than an edge. So right in the middle of my axis, when I get a green dot, I'm going to click once and move my mouse out. And in the first box, I'm going to type in 180, press Tab on my keyboard, and then type in 90. Now, if you accidentally click off the rectangle before you have put in your measurements, there is a dimension tool up under Constrain where you can click the line that you need and change the dimension to the correct size. Once I've finished the rectangle, I'm going to click Finish Sketch so that I've got my first sketch in front of me. Now, if we look at the end elevation of the backing casing, you can see here that the biggest rectangle has a thickness of 10. So it's not just going straight into the back rectangle, we have to extrude it first. So I am going to go up to Extrude. And make sure that my rectangle is extruded 10 millimeters. Like so. Now the next task is for us to sketch out this smaller rectangle in order for us to connect them both together. Now the easiest way for us to do that is to use planes so that we can offset a plane to the correct distance in order to have a surface for us to sketch the smaller rectangle. So in my modeling tree, we have a folder called Origin. I'm just going to expand the folder, and you can see here I've got 3 different types of planes. So the YZ plane is running in the middle, up and down. The XZ is running in the middle, going side to side. And the XY plane is running down the back of our model. So that's the one that we're looking for. So I'm going to right click it and turn the visibility of the plane on. Now if I look at my model from the right hand side, you can see that I've got a plane running down the back of my rectangle. So next need to offset the plane. Now our plane is currently sitting at the back of this area here. So from the front of our shape all the way to the back rectangle, we have a distance of 60, but we've already set our shape to 10. So from the back to of that shape to the back of our smaller rectangle is going to be 50. So we're going to take our plane, we're going to offset, and we're going to drag our plane back and type in minus 50. And there we have our new plane 50 millimeters away from our original plane. So on this plane, I'm going to start a 2D sketch. So I'm going to click Start a 2D sketch and make sure that I click the edge of the new plane that we've just created. I'm going to turn the view so that I can see it from the back. And this time, instead of using a 2-point center rectangle, I'm going to use the 2-point rectangle so that I can draw the rectangle from the corner rather than the middle. Looking back at my drawing, I need to get the sizes for this smaller rectangle. So I can see on the plan from this point to this point is 90, and then in the end elevation, we know that the height of it is 45. So in Inventor, I'm going to draw a rectangle. I don't want to click the edge of it. I want to make sure that I'm on the top line, but I'm not right at the edge. So I'm going to just start my rectangle here, and I'm going to type in 90 by 45. Now we need to make sure that the rectangle is sitting in the middle. Our overall length was 180 and our smaller rectangle is 90. So it means that either side of this rectangle must be 45. So using the dimension tool, I'm going to click the edge of the bigger rectangle and the edge of my smaller rectangle, click off the edge and make sure that that says 45. Once that's done, I'm going to click Finish Sketch, and you can see now I've got the smaller rectangle and the larger rectangle, allowing us to start lofting them. So loft can be found beside the revolve. The first thing we want to do is make sure that we select the back face of our rectangle. So you can see here it kind of highlights it. You're just trying to find it when it gets to the bigger one. And then we want to select our smaller rectangle, press OK, and you can see that they have now been joined together and created the shape. Now if you go and look at it from the side, the top of it should be perfectly straight, otherwise you've not modelled it correctly. So if it's at any sort of angle at the top, go back into your sketch and see and make sure that the dimensions are correct for the smaller rectangle. Next, what I'm going to do is turn off the visibility of the back plane. Now, looking at the drawing, we can see that there is hidden detail in the end elevation and the plan. We've also been told that the wall thickness is 3 millimeters, so that means that this shape is hollow. So we're going to go up to the Modify menu and find Shell, which is beside Fillet. We're going to change our thickness to 3 mm and make sure that we select our biggest rectangle to remove that face. So that it's now hollow. Next, on the back casing, we have these 4 smaller rectangle extrusions, which allows it to connect to the front casing. So you can see in hidden detail A, we've got a 3 mm by 10 mm rectangle. So we're going to go ahead and sketch them in. Now you should already have the plane set from before. If you've accidentally turned that off, then go back into your origin folder and make sure your XY plane is selected. We're going to start a sketch on that XY plane, and we're going to start sketching in our rectangles. Now our rectangles should be on each of the axes, touching the edge of our model. So I've zoomed in to the right hand side. This is the axis line where we want to draw a rectangle. I'm going to go back to the 2-point center rectangle, and I'm going to make sure that I get the green dot of where the axis line connects with my model. So I'm going to click and expand it up. And I'm going to first of all set it to 6 so that it is 3 out of this line and 3 inside the model, and then I'm going to press tab and make that 10, like so. Staying in the same sketch, I'm then going to zoom into the top of my model, and again using the rectangle tool, I'm going to find where it connects with the green dot, and this time I'm going to make the longest side 10 and the shorter side 6 so that it's the correct way around. I'm then going to move to the left hand side of my model. So on the left hand side, I'm going to click rectangle again, find my green dot, and this time the shorter side will be 6 and the longer side 10. And last but not least, I'm going to add another one into the bottom. So with my rectangle, find the green dot, put the longer 10 and the shorter 6. So each of your rectangles should stay in the correct position. So we should have them like so. We're then going to finish the sketch and select extrude. So we're going to go to extrude, and we're going to make sure that we select all of the new rectangles that we have just created. So I'm going to zoom in and select our rectangles. So we've selected the first one. We're then going to select the second one, and we're going to go around and select all 4 rectangles so that we've got the 3D shape on all 4 sides, so that our object looks like this. Once we've done that, we're going to turn off the XY plane by right-clicking the edge of it and turning off the visibility. And now we have the front of our back casing complete. We now just need to add the 2 holders for the stabilizing rod. So if we look at the circles and we look at the end elevation, we can see that the circles are in line with the top of our shape. We can see that there is a bigger circle with a radius of 4 and a smaller circle with a radius of 6. Now the circles are not centered to the end of the back casing. They have a distance between them of 3 millimeters. So we're going to go to Inventor. We're going to find a plane that runs along the side. So we've got our model, we've turned off all of our planes, and we are going to start a sketch on the top surface of our model. First of all, we are going to draw a circle, not on top of our model, but just off to the side. So I'm going to draw a circle here and make it 8 millimeters. I'm then going to use the dimension tool to dimension the center of the circle to the back edge of the back casing and make that 3 millimeters. And again, I'm going to draw another circle and make that 8 millimeters. And dimension, again, the center of the circle to the edge and make sure that that is 3 millimeters. Now, if we look at the drawing, we can see that both of these circles have a distance between them of 40. So we've got 20 and another 20, which means that remaining would be 50. So we've took the 40 away from the 90 and we get 50. That means that at either side of the circle must be 25. So again, I'm going to use dimensions. I'm going to select the center point to the edge of my model and change that to 25. And then going to dimension the center of one circle to the next circle and make sure that they have a distance of 40. Next, I am going to get my circle tool again, and in between both the circles, I'm going to create a smaller circle at 6 millimeters. So using the same center point, create 2 circles at 6 millimeters. Now, if you like, we can go up to the modify and use the trim function to trim away the bottom of the circles. That just means that when we extrude it, that part won't be included. Just trimming the bottom of both circles. And once we've trimmed the bottom of the bigger circle, we're going to finish the sketch. We're going to click extrude. And we want to make sure that we select in between both of the circles. So we don't want to make it solid, we want to have just the ring around the edge. So again, like so. Now, as you can see, they have extruded up the way. We want them to go the opposite way. So I'm going to change the direction to direction number 2. And I'm going to make sure that the distance is set to 45. That then leaves us with 2 of the stabilizing rod holders at the back and has completed our back casing for the higher speaker assignment. So we want to go up to File, Save As, and save it into your OneDrive.